Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 2019 State Basketball Coaches Webinar for the tournament coming up on Saturday, March 30th. If everybody could just take a second, I just want to make sure that you can hear me. So if you could just type into the question bar and just let me know that you're able to do so, I would appreciate that. Perfect. Thank you. I see some familiar names from last night as well. So it's great to have you guys with me last night and tonight. So thank you guys for doubling up nights for those that had to for the Summer Games preseason call and now the basketball call as well. So happy first day of spring. We're looking very much so forward to the state basketball tournament that's going to take place at the Sports Zone in Derry on March 30th. Thank you to all of those of you that were at the Unified Tournament. And sorry to those that the weather wasn't on our side for the traditional tournament, but we're very much so looking forward to seeing everybody at the state tournament. And hopefully, you know, knock on wood, weather is behind us and we'll be good to go for the 30th. So this is Chelsea from Special Olympics New Hampshire. And then many of you know Annette from the Unified assessments, and then also all of the basketball elements from last year. So she, for those traditional folks, is joining us again for the state tournament. So I'd like to thank Annette for her leadership and support to allowing us to have a great tournament on the 30th. So we'll go ahead and get started and be able to just paint a clear picture of the state basketball tournament that's going to take place coming up in about a week and a half. Maybe. There we go.
There we go.
All right, so I'll turn it over to Annette to start chatting about the tournament.
We will have all the teams as well as individual skilled athletes at the Sports Zone again this year, but we're spreading things out. I know that last year there were some logjam areas, both with awards and then with individual skills. And we've done some brainstorming with some key volunteers, and I think that you'll like what we're able to do because we're able to highlight the athletes and get them to awards in an expeditious way. But the venue layout we're going to go to next. And when local programs check in, they're going to go to that first soccer pitch, and check-in will be inside. That will be the home base where your teams can drop all of their things so that we can keep that area as secure as possible, and you'll get your water. Could you go ahead and advance to the next slide?
Mm-hmm.
You'll see that with the entrance, and if you track the yellow, as you come in, you'll go in the entrance. We will also have brackets, the schedule, and the results in there, since that will be your home base. And so you will check in where that yellow box is. We wanted it away from the entrance exit so that we could keep people moving and that they would be able to, you know, drop their things, and if they were changing their shoes, that would all take place in there. When we get to awards, you'll see how we're going to manage it. But again, we've got 6 courts. Court 2 will only be 3-on-3, and then we will do individual skills beginning at 2:30. But we're going to do this a little different. The court is going to be stanchioned off. There will be athlete escorts. If an athlete has a wheelchair, they'll be able to wheel that athlete with their division through the course, but everybody will start at the spot shot since it takes the most time. But we're going to start with tee times. so that the first division would be 230, the next division would, let's say, be 235, and then you would progress, so that as you go through, you're going through as a division, and when you get to the last event, which you'll see there is the speed dribble, you'll then go out the exit to awards, and you'll be escorted to the awards area, which is that second pitch, and the athlete escort will drop the athletes off at awards check-in, and that area is going to be sectioned off, and then go to staging. There will be seats at staging, and there will be two different areas where they will receive, where we can confer awards. After they receive their awards, then they will go to pictures and then out. If a coach would like to have a picture with the athletes, you can go in the exit side of where the pictures are, but you'll not be able to go through the staging area and awards, so that we can keep that area clean and highlight the athletes. What we're attempting to do is to recognize each of the athletes professionally with dignity, just as if they were going to a national or a world game. And then once they're released, parents, coaches, you'll have them, and certainly you're free to leave. If we now take a look at kind of the officiating and then the competition, it was mentioned that substitution on the fly really cannot occur. The official, I mean, they won't stop the clock for those lower divisions, but you need to be able to be beckoned in by the official. It's chaotic when we've got people running in and running out, and whether the team is on offense or defense, by being beckoned in, just those few seconds will help to control the situation as best we can. And the second part of the officiating is there's really going to be zero tolerance for any unsportsmanlike conduct by anyone. If any of the players get extremely physical and are out of control, there will be no warning and then come back. If they're out of control, they'll be out of control. And being ejected really provides a safe environment for the rest of the athletes. With the competition, in just a moment, we'll go ahead and see the divisions. Go ahead and go to the next slide. We'll come back to this one with awards, or there's another slide with awards. So with the divisions, here they are. We did not start to do the schedule in case there were going to be any other changes, and there's one that you'll see, or that you may note, but now the divisions are set, and we will then plug them into a schedule, trying to be mindful of teams that may have to travel the furthest. But I am so thankful for you coaches that are coaching the traditional teams, because we did not have much information except what was designed for the assessments and then last year's records. But I heard from almost nearly everyone, certainly representing the town or the program, so that I could get a profile of the team, and that helped tremendously in terms of placement. And if there was a problem, I was able to get back to some of the coaches and talk personally with them. Also, with the unified coaches, we got excellent feedback during the assessment process, because it's not just a matter of seeing the teams, being able to hear from the coaches and find out, that information was extremely helpful as well. Now, for the 2-team divisions, it'll be the best of 3. For the 3-team divisions, it'll be the overall record as they play each of those teams. But if there happens to be a tie, the top 2 teams with the fewest points given up totally. So you take those 2 games and you add up the differential, and the 2 teams that have the lowest points will play an 8-minute game as opposed to a full game because you have already played 2. In a 4-team division, it'll just be the standard 4-team bracket where 2 teams will play, and they'll probably be playing at the same time, but on different side-by-side courts. Then there'll be a break in the action where somebody else will be playing, and then the winners will be playing for first and second, and the teams that lost that first game will be playing for third and fourth. So looking back at the divisions again, you'll see that we have 3 2-team divisions. We have 9 3-team divisions and 4 4-team divisions. So the schedule will be built, based, and that was fairly close to what we had last year. We had a few more 3-on-3 teams and 1 less 4-on-4 team. So this schedule is, the number of teams is just a little bit less. Now with individual skills, I mentioned that we are going to go ahead and be on court 2, and that even though the start time's at 2:30, you will get the start time for your athlete in the division that athlete's in. It'll probably be a 3-team division so that they can get the sense of who they're competing against. And it's only going to be athletes allowed on the court. That way we can keep it open. It's tight already, and this will give athletes their best opportunity to excel, in a tight space. So again, the spot shot, then progress to 10-meter dribble, target pass, bounce pass, and then speed dribble. Of course, a women's-sized basketball will be used, and we only have a 10-foot basket this year. The short basket that we had last year was broken. We tried to get it fixed, but that wasn't able to be materialized. Then once a division is finished, they will go ahead and be escorted to the awards area so that they can receive their awards as quickly as possible. And there at the end of the day, there will be, I think the very first awards with games will happen somewhere around 11:15, and then things will continue going after that. We will be connected with radios. Each one of the courts will have court monitors. They will also have scores and timers. And so when those the courts get finished, we'll get the scores right away, and we'll know which teams will be coming to the awards area so that they can get those awards prepared for. And that will help tremendously. You'll see there that even though court 1 is coming the furthest, those games are going to start at 8:30. Court 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now 5 and 6 will tend to be the higher divisions because of the size of the courts, but all of the courts, as you saw last year, are very professional, and they have their own scoreboards, so that the only thing that we'll do differently on court 2 for 3-on-3, we'll have table scored tables so that each one of the teams, whether it's court 2A or 2B, will have the same kind of professional setup. Now, with awards, I mentioned that they've been revamped. If you'll continue to advance, we've got a little bit bigger. So down on the right-hand side, you'll see that we've got space where the looks like part of a house. These are stanchions, and that first part, as they come in, is a chute. So they check in, and then they're led to a staging area, and then they will be led to receive their awards at either one or two places. Once they receive their awards, they then, as their division, they will then go to pictures and then out. Now, because we have 2 and 3 team divisions as well, we will not, the team can go ahead and receive their award when we know what place they finish. So if they are the second of the 2 teams, or if they're the third of the 3 teams, they will be able to go and will be led to that awards area after their final game, because the court monitor will know that this is the final game for Division X. And after that, they will be led to the awards so that we can hand out those awards professionally, highlight those athletes, and then if the teams need to leave, they're free to leave, but we don't need to stay and wait really for anyone else, unless the team chooses to do so. Really, I think I may or may not have mentioned that really based on Special Olympics International Protocol, only the participating players receive awards. The coaches don't, or any of the players who are absent don't. It's truly the people who are participating. Now, in terms of individual skills, do we have, it's my understanding that we don't quite have all the scores yet, Chelsea?
Correct. So we're missing some of the qualifying scores from a few programs that were associated with the traditional because we weren't able to conduct the assessment. So Dairy Rec, if you can send in scores for Courtney and Travis, Londonderry Special Forces for Ty and Will, Milford for Michael. I've got them from Team Unkanunik, and then for Winnipesaukee Warriors, Aiden, Christopher, Craig, David, and Caitlin. If you have any questions on how to complete the form, please just let Annette or I know. But it's the form right on the final page of the basketball rules that you can use to conduct skills with your athletes and be able to submit the scores. If you can just get them to us by Monday, end of day at the latest, so we can appropriately division for the individual skills competition.
That'll give us time to be able to then let you know what key time you have, for those athletes who will be entering the individual skills contest. With regard to lunch will be in the balcony as it was last year. Now, those athletes who are in wheelchairs or who may have walkers, there is a room downstairs that they have allowed us to utilize for those athletes. Now, when the athletes, please come up as a team when you're not playing, and you'll be able to go through the line to get either 2 wraps and apple slices, or apple slices plus 1 wrap and a salad, because not everybody likes salads or chooses salads, but this will give us an opportunity to distribute the food. There will be multiple stations of food distribution, not just one long line, so that people can get through, not only get their food, but also beverage. Downstairs, the coaches will be able to get the food for their athlete or athletes who are in wheelchairs. It's not wheelchair accessible upstairs, but you can take the food downstairs to those particular athletes. And really, they don't want any other food downstairs. They want to keep the food and the lunch upstairs. With regard to inclement weather, we'll notify you when with regard to the assessment process, we were able to notify you the day before because we knew what was coming. We may be able to do that in case that occurs again, but it appears everything should be on the up. If there is some kind of notification needed, it'll be done by 5:30 or 6 o'clock the morning of the tournament. But I know that some of you are going to be coming. I guess Andrew Scoggin will be coming to Concord the day before. Right now, they're not calling for any inclement weather, and that's what certainly we're hoping for. And then the final information and the schedule, we're looking to have finished and distributed by sometime on Friday. It may be the end of the day at Friday, but at least you'll be able to get it before and plan, let your team know a week in advance so that you can prepare for your trip.
One other quick note that I have on lunch, there's a couple of teams that we haven't heard from for the number of meals that you need for athletes and volunteers and coaches. So if the teams that I list, if you can just send Kelsey or Taylor an email with the number of lunches your team needs, that would be greatly appreciated. If you could do that by the end of the day tomorrow, or at the very latest Friday at 10 a.m. so we can request the number of meals that we need. So the meals that we need are from the following programs: Androscoggin, Londonderry Special Forces, the Vikings, the Winnipesaukee Warriors, and North Country United.
I don't believe the Vikings are participating this year.
I think you're right. That might be an error.
There was a good question that had come up that you may or may not have seen with regard to family members observing awards. Yes, yeah, that there will be an area there for family members. We just wanted to separate where the athletes were so we could stage them properly, but you'll be close enough to take pictures, especially when they move to the picture area, so that we can keep athletes moving there professionally and in and out, with some dignity and highlighting each one of the athletes receiving their award. Are there any other questions?
So there's a question about the schedule. So now that we've finalized all of the divisions, we're going to put together the schedule. And the schedule will be distributed with a recap of all the information that we talked about today by the end of the day on Friday for your review. We wanted to make sure that all the teams and coaches were comfortable with the divisions prior to starting the scheduling process, so that we wouldn't have to send out a lot of different versions. So you can expect to see it by the end of the day on Friday to be able to distribute it.
And that's this Friday.
Yep, 2 days. Couple of questions about food and where you can bring it. So I'm unsure whether or not the snack bar is going to be open at the Sports Zone. I know it opened midday last year. So the biggest thing is if you can try to encourage your athletes, coaches, and volunteers to eat upstairs. If there's space, that would be greatly appreciated. If you do need to eat downstairs, if there's nowhere to sit, please do so on the bleachers. The biggest thing is the turf fields are that we can't have food in there. Any food that's spilled is very difficult to clean up, and we could potentially be charged for whatever cleaning fee has to take place, or even worse, damage the field. So ideally upstairs or in the room downstairs or somewhere on the bleachers, and you can watch the other games that are going on and cheer on the other athletes and partners that are playing.
We have some outstanding volunteers. Many of them have some basketball knowledge, are going to be involved this year. We're also going to have more athlete escorts to be able to be with the teams and interact with the teams, as well as get them to where they need to be following their games. And I think that our goal has been to highlight what we provide so that these athletes have the best opportunity to excel in the state basketball tournament and are treated just like any other athlete with really an outstanding competition management team. So travel safely, and we'll look forward to seeing you next Saturday a week.
Thank you, guys.